So we got the audio going. We got the 2 mics. We got our very sophisticated mic stands. The laptop for research and whatnot. We got our emotional support Beagle behind us. Can you see Sparky on the?
Sparky. I don't know.
We got the camera going to put this on.
I have my glasses on, so I can't actually
YouTube.
see long distances or short distances. Or medium distances.
So your glasses are basically blinders.
They're props. They do literally nothing. I can't read ingredients when I'm like if I pick up a can or something like that or a box, which I don't eat out of obviously because I'm all organic.
It's a good investment.
What is the cans?
The
or
glasses.
The glasses? Well, I saw someone the other day saying that they take pictures of stuff and expand a picture so they can read the ingredients. That's what they're using their phones for. It's basically a big expensive magnifying glass.
Yeah.
These glasses were bad the day after I got them. The guy. So there's a guy at Costco. There's a doctor at Costco.
There's a guy. It's not. He doesn't work there. He's just outside sitting on the sidewalk.
You mean he's not doing eye surgery or anything? But so I didn't know this when I went in, but I made an appointment at Costco to get my eyes checked. And then when I went back to get my contact lens, whatever extra thing they do for contact lenses, she was like, "Yeah, that doctor is my dad. He's been retired for 20-something years, but they needed somebody."
We can't get him to stop coming in.
No, they got it. He's a retired eye guy.
Eye doctor. Off the doctor.
And I don't think he's up to date, honestly. So he told me that I needed bifocals, and right there, you can't trust that guy.
What an idiot.
I was 46 at the time.
Bifocals.
I was 45 at the time because my prescription just about expired probably. But the day after I got it, it was useless. Useless. So he tells me that I got bifocals, which, of course, check his credentials. Because that's just crazy talk.
Can you get bifocal lenses put in the glasses you have now?
You could, but you got to go to a special section for senior citizens.
Could they just do some smaller, narrower glasses that you could wear, on the outside of those? So you put those on for the up close, and then
you get the watchmakers have the little things on them.
Double
yes, I could
glasses.
do that. I could do that.
Like steampunk.
And apparently there's invisible bifocals now, but I would want them so invisible you can't even see them on my face.
You might as well just not wear glasses.
Pretty much. So I can't see far away. I can drive with these on, apparently.
You can drive without glasses, but maybe not very far.
Not well, Mr. Magoo. But, of course, that's why we're doing a podcast in the first place.
Why is that?
Because we don't have a car. We can't go anywhere.
Our car is dead.
Had a good run.
Yeah.
We've had a really good run.
We got it during COVID.
Yeah, we've had it for 5 years. No car payments. I mean, we did pay for it once. But we didn't have any car payments after that.
Yeah, we did make one payment.
We did pay for it.
Well, at the time we had a contract with a TV broadcaster to make some shows, and they were just throwing money at us.
They were. And we couldn't find anyone to take it.
So we were like, let's go get a new car. And then we went to dealerships, and they were like, you don't have any money. And we were like, but there's lots of money on the way. We can definitely afford a car. And they were like, but you don't have any money right now. And you don't have jobs. I'm using air quotes.
We didn't have a job.
So you can't run your credit and get car payments. So we had to resort to Facebook Marketplace, and we found a fantastic deal. And
can I just let's pause for just a second.
Pause.
Let's talk about Canada. Coming to Canada as an immigrant. I'm a Canadian. Also, I'm an American because I got my citizenship down there. And down in the States, they're lovely to me. We come back to Canada. I bring my whole family back to Canada 6 years ago. We get this massive amount of money.
From
2 different contracts.
Broadcasters, yep.
Massive amount of money, right? And so, first of all, we go to the car dealerships, and they're like, well, you haven't got 2 years of steady paychecks to show us. So they wouldn't touch us unless we paid 35% interest. And they were something about, they wanted to know how big my thumbs were.
Yeah, that was a question on the credit check for some reason.
And they were taking pictures of my thumbs.
What's your ring size?
Yeah, it was weird. And gloves. What kind of gloves do you wear?
Do you need insoles in your shoes? I don't know.
I don't know.
It was weird.
It was lots of weird questions. And anyway, the answer ultimately was no, unless we...
Their answer was no.
They said no. And we went to the bank, and we were like, we've got these massive checks coming in. They were like, well, we don't see anything in your bank account right now. Ms. Morgan.
Yeah, that was funny, too, because even when we got the first really big check from the broadcaster, it was dozens of thousands of dollars. and it was in the bank, but it was
fives.
The bank had to hold it for like a week, and we were like, we need groceries.
Starving. So
we don't have jobs because we're artists, and this is a big deal, and we got lots of money, and we're very excited. Can we have a little, just a little bit for some groceries?
So we were trying to celebrate. It was like, yay! Now we can afford
we'll go get some pizza.
Now we can afford a car.
And they were like, no, you got to wait a week because even though it was one RBC account to another RBC account, they had to put it on hold for like 7 to 10 days and then release it to us
in little small bits. They put us on an allowance.
Yeah, not even. We just.
So then, my favorite part. Do you remember going back to that same dealership when the cash actually went through?
Yeah, and we Pretty Woman them.
So COVID.
You work on. You
huge mistake.
Huge.
So we go in, and there's this car we wanted. We wanted a Dodge Journey because at that point our kids didn't want to sit in the same row of seating.
They wanted the third row of seating.
Yeah. So we go in, and it's been like how many years? Like where were we in lockdowns at that point? That car had been sitting there for a minimum of 2 years.
That was well into the first year of lockdown, I think.
So the car had been sitting there
2020.
At least a year, if not 2 years, sitting on the lot. Couldn't move because we weren't allowed to go look at cars and stuff like that. Hey, pups. And so we go in, we look at this car, we loved it. We drove every car. We had so much fun for those few weeks.
Just test driving cars, spending the day with them.
Yeah.
Pretending like they were ours.
It was nice. It was nice manifesting, nice exercise and visualization. So we go in, and we love this Dodge Journey, and everybody's in love with it. Like, we're so happy. The boys are, like, negotiating which seat they're going to sit in and who we're going to pick up first when we're allowed to see people and all that stuff. And so I go in, and I go, okay, so that car that's out on the lot, we'd really like to have that. And he was like, okay. So and he does this calculation. Remember when Frosty...
He put on one of those visors, those green see-through visors.
Remember when Frosty...
adding machine.
Remember when Frosty got the ticket for Nome, Alaska, and he wanted to go to North Pole? So the guy is ringing up all this stuff, and he's like, you're going to need the undercoating, you're going to need whatever. And it was like... The car was, I think, maybe $13,000.
Something like that.
At the time. And I figured, there's taxes. I understand that. But he had all these fees and all these things put on top of it. And he was like, well, when you put in this stuff and this stuff and this stuff, it was coming up to like $18,000, $19,000, $20,000. And I'm like, dude, listen, here's the deal. I have cash. I have actual cash money. I don't want to leave it all with you.
Yeah, you don't
How
get
about
all
you finance us for half? I'll give you half down payment. That's like $7,000. I said, I'll give you $7,000. You set me up with I know you can finagle things, and I know you can approve a car loan. Give it to us for $15,000. And he was like, well, okay, so as I told you, ma'am. That's never a good sign when someone calls me ma'am. And I didn't even have bifocals on.
Ma'am.
So he was like, well, by the time you put this tax in and this fee and this fee and this fee, it's going to be closer to $20,000. I was like, you don't understand. I want that car for $15,000, everything included. Everything. I want to drive off the lot for
Never talk to you again.
You never have to see me, and I'm going to take that car that's been sitting out there for 2 years off your lot because I know you're hurting. I know you're hurting like everybody else. $15,000. I thought it was pretty good for a used car, right? Wouldn't budge.
Yeah.
I said, "Are you seriously going to let me walk out of here without that?" And he was like, "You know what? We're open back up now. I'll sell it."
He was holding out. Yeah.
Anyway.
So we resorted to Facebook Marketplace and found a doctor that his family had gotten bigger and they needed a van, so they got rid of their small SUV and sold it to us for a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And they took such good care of it. And that car has lasted us. We've really had a good run with it. So we're at the point now where the repairs that it needs are more than it would cost to get another car. So that's where we are. But I guess where we're not going for a car, though.
Not that place.
That guy.
Not the Facebook Marketplace guy. If he sold us another car, we'd take it. But
yeah, I wonder if
we should get in touch with him. Hey, what do you have any more kids?
It's been 5 years. I wonder if they had any more babies.
You guys getting rid of that van?
That was really... Maybe. Oh, we're not van people.
We could be.
Are you? I'm not. I don't know. I don't like the snub noses. I don't like how close you are to other vehicles. Like, I like to have a nice big front end. It's like that'll, lots of crumple room. I feel like when you're in a van, it's like, boom, you're gone. There's not a chance.
But
I feel like you're crumpled. But I feel like when there's a big, nice engine block, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are like police, accident cops or whatever, and they're gonna go,
accident cops. That's a new NBC show.
Accident cops that'll tell you like you'll be thrown clear if you don't wear your seatbelt. I'm sure there are people that are like, if there's a big engine.
Wait. Are you anti-seatbelt?
I'm not anti-seatbelt. I'm just saying that there were people years ago when I was a kid that said, I don't know if they had been to accidents or if they just heard about accidents, but they were like, you're wearing that seatbelt, you're pinned in the car, but if you don't wear your seatbelt, you're going to be thrown clear and you'll survive. That's what I was told about seatbelts when I was a kid.
You could survive with just scarred face that went through the windshield.
But you'll have a face.
Yeah.
You'll still be around.
So this is a good 10-minute intro to our podcast, our first episode of our podcast.
I feel like I had something more to say about that. What was
Well,
it?
the next thing was that our car's dead.
But that's probably why we were driving around in the pans of pickups. Which, by the way, it's 2024. I saw somebody in a town that I wrote a song about, so I'm not going to mention where it was. But I saw people with kids in the back pan of a pickup this summer. And I was like, what year is it? And someone said, shut up. Don't be such a snitch. So, good luck, kids.
Snitches
I
get
turned out
stitches.
fine. Anyway, here we are, 47 years old, no car, doing a podcast in the basement because we got no car.
I mean, if we had a car, would we drive somewhere to do a podcast?
Well, we had that really successful show on CHMR.
That's true. We wouldn't walk to CHMR from here
Because it's too far.
because it's too far. And
They'd have us back.
and
in
it's
a
been
heartbeat.
raining for a solid year.
I sent
at
a
this point.
message to CHMR this summer and said, hey, can we come in and do Are You Mad at Me? And they were like, yeah, that sounds fantastic. And we just, I think I had to take a picture of our IDs or something to send over. And I don't know. It was just a lot of work. It wasn't any work, really. I got yours about 2 months later, and I can't find my ID. So that's why we're not doing it. That's why we weren't doing it at Munn. And now we
But
have no other choice.
You
but
know
to.
what? Our basement is very close to the rest of the place where we live, so we can just come down here anytime and make a podcast. We got lights. We got the camera. We got the laptop and the microphones. We got the support Beagles. You know, I thought it would be weird having the couch behind us with nobody sitting on it, but it's just for
These are our guests.
for all the Beagles. There's another one running around here somewhere. She'll probably come.
Which one have we got here?
We got-
Maybe.
maybe in Sparky.
Sparky. How you doing, pups?
So
What's up,
we
bro?
are recording this. I said a camera because we are recording this for, I don't know, YouTube podcasts, Spotify video
I don't know.
podcasts.
I just feel really inspired by Nate Bargatze. And who are your favorites? So just before I go any further, I love Nate Bargatze, and I just discovered my next binge is he's got 4 years of podcasts.
225 episodes of the Nateland podcast.
Well, I listened to one yesterday, and it was like episode 226. So I'm scrolling
and you
back.
didn't have a clue what was going on because you hadn't watched any of the other ones.
Not a clue. So I'm scrolling back through, and
Like,
it's
who's
like
this guy?
episode 220. No, I knew who he was. I love him.
Why
So
is he here?
Episode 226.
What's his name?
And so I'm scrolling back, and it's like, Josh, when I get to 200, do you think it's going to go to 126? Like, do you think there's just 20-something
You think it's
episodes every
numbered
year?
seasonally or
Yeah,
numerically?
like it was just 10, whatever. Good news. It was
225.
199. Before 200 was 199, and then 198. And there's
1 to
literally
2 hour episodes.
there's 226 episodes of the Nateland podcast, and I am down for that because I love him so much. He is so funny.
So that's funny that you mentioned that because you've been doing stand-up since this summer, and that's a new thing in your life.
It's pretty fun.
Is it? Wait, when did you discover Nate Bargatze?
I've seen all his specials. So
It's been at least a year, right? So before, so could you
It's been a couple years.
would you attribute your stand-up comedy success this year to
100%.
Nate Bargatze?
So over the summer, I saw a bunch of interviews he did about starting out and bombing and how he got started and that he's been plugging away and that he loves it and all that stuff. So I saw a lot of examples. Like, and I'm obsessed with comedians in cars getting coffee. He's never been on that, by the way.
Not yet.
Not unless there's a new
I
season.
wonder if they're doing new ones.
Well, they just did a show this summer.
He does
Jim
reference
Gaffigan.
Seinfeld a lot, so I think he would be
Jim
excited about that.
Gaffigan and your favorite, Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh man, yeah, he's the best.
And Jerry Seinfeld and Nate Bargatze did a show, and so like they're in the same they're in the same world. But the podcast idea, the comedy thing, to answer your question, I don't really. You know what? I had a weird thing going on in my life, and we went to a comedy show, and we were sitting with a couple of comedians who had been doing it for a really long time, and I was just confiding. I was just telling them a story that was just blowing my mind. I was mind boggled by what was going on, and they were just laughing at all the details, and I was like.
And that was this summer, right? Like June or something?
I had always wanted to. And as a matter of fact, Sarah, who was there that evening, I took pictures a few years ago. I went to see her do a show, and just before the show started, there was this microphone and stool on stage, and I took a picture of it, and I sent it to her, and I said, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Because I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy, always. And so we're sitting at this 24-hour restaurant over the summer, and I'm telling her this story and her partner, and they're just laughing. And I was like, it wasn't hurtful. It was just really funny because I was like, well, I couldn't possibly tell anybody, but I've been kind of thinking like I wouldn't mind getting up and doing this in front of people. And I said, but the problem is, I don't know if it's could I make fun of somebody that's doing these things? And she said, it's your story. Yeah. And the second that guy send on those dick pics, it's your story.
So
it becomes your story.
Yeah.
And so I was at the time, of course, Last Minute Comedy was having a ladies' night on the 24th of July, and I made that. And of course, Josh Mentions was giving out 5-timers hats.
Right. If you did 5-minute sets at Last Minute Comedy, you got a hat that said Last Minute Comedy.
That I crochet. I make those hats.
That he asked you to make.
Which is, touching adjacent, comedy adjacent. So I was like, my lofty goal was one of these days, maybe I'd get a 5-timer hat. I don't know. And then it was like, wait, a ladies' night, like that sounds kind of gentle. Like that sounds like that might be fun. That'd be a safe room. And for whatever reason, the timing of it, by the time ladies' night came along, that was my third night. That was my third time.
Yeah, you did some
because
practice
the 3rd
runs.
of July was my first time ever, and I just remember getting up it was on a Monday, and I started writing down what I had been saying to those folks at dinner, and I just started writing it out.
Story.
And I just as a joke, I texted you. You were downstairs, and I texted you and I said, "How crazy would it be if I asked Josh Mentions for some time this week?" And I started to say what I would joke about, and you're like, "No. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Ask for the time." And I was like, I couldn't. No, that's ridiculous. And you were like, ask for the time and then fill it in after. And Josh Mentions got back to me like it all happened so fast.
Yep.
It was so fast because he was like, yeah, of course you can have time. And so I started putting my set together. I started practicing in the kitchen with a SM58 and doing my set and went over and over and over and over and over. And by the time I got there, that was a wild night too because it was the most people I've ever seen at Peter Easton. There were a couple comics in from...
Yeah, that was a weird night there because people had brought family and friends, and there was like 50 people in the room, and people were standing, and it was like...
There was a lady from Ontario, and there was another lady from New Brunswick or PEI.
There was somebody from New York.
But they brought in... Yeah, New York, yeah. So there was people from all over, There
was a couple traveling comedians that just came in for
and they were
5
women.
minutes.
They were also women. So to be in that room, they were really, really funny and so supportive. And so the room that night was magic. It was like everybody... was laughing at exactly where I thought they would. And like, I mean, so that's not really a typical experience, I don't think, for most people, because it was a full room and the material was practiced. I don't know if it was solid, but it had been rehearsed.
What a response you got that night.
But what a response. And so I was kind of like on this high for like 2 days after, which I don't often have because usually after I perform, I just swear it off and say I'm never doing that again.
Every time.
Every time.
Every single show.
But that particular show was like, oh my God, I really love that. And I was excited the whole day leading up to it. Nervous, but excited. So yeah, that's where it started. And then we did our first, we've produced our own show this past week.
Our own comedy show, yeah.
The Black Sheep.
So that was June or July, and then this is November, and you did 22 minutes on stage as a headliner at your own show.
Yeah.
Which was...
It was wild.
Fantastic.
And everybody, the room was blocked. I invited everybody. That was kind of a funny thing because I invited people. Like instead of just clicking invite on Facebook, I actually messaged people directly and said, "This is a big deal for me. I'm headlining." And people showed up. Yeah, it was a full room. So I'm going to ask you the same question because you did comedy. Tell me about your start in comedy. How long ago was that?
Well, everybody always told me you should be a stand-up comedian. You're so fun. No, I'm just kidding.
That is true.
I just always really liked stand-up and stand-up specials and stand-up albums and. So then somebody in town was doing a stand-up class, and I thought all the best comedians start with a class. You get a certificate.
And what was it called? The Bomb Shelter.
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. No, well, so there was a class. I don't remember what the class was called, but then after the class, there was like a practical exam where you go to the Peter Easton, the same place you started, and it's like a bomb shelter. So it was like a safe, encouraging environment for brand new comedians to try to do 5 minutes for the first time. And so you had I don't remember if it was like 2 weeks or a month to get a set together. And then, so that was my first time doing it. And I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I remember there was a show at the hall for some reason. And there was pictures of you in the green room, and you just looked so happy.
Oh, that's
now,
what
there was
it was.
a lot of lights around you, too, but you were glowing. Like, the pictures of you looked so happy.
Yeah, it was exciting. And so there were people that I knew from other things that were doing the class and doing the bomb shelter and doing the thing at the hall. That was, I think that was the thing that Ellen Lean put off. That was the stand-up comedy challenge or something. Do 5 minutes of it. I don't remember exactly, but and then. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was fun. I never really got a ton of laughs. Like I probably could have worked harder at, fine-tuning jokes and getting them funny. But like it was, and the problem I had with it when 3 or 4 years ago, whenever this was that like our kids were little then, so we couldn't both go to anything. So it was like me going out by myself, and like I did a couple things after that, like at bars, and it was like me going into a bar and I didn't know anybody. And I'd go up on stage for 5 minutes and nobody would laugh. And I'd come off stage and just sit at the bar. Like, that was a mistake. I don't have anybody here that was telling me I did a good job, and I'm sad. So I stopped doing it. So I didn't do stand-up comedy for
And you know that the
3 or
scene
4
here
years.
is a lot of the open mics are just other comedians waiting to go up.
Yeah, and that's
So they're all nervous. They're not
I think
listening.
that was what happened that last night I did stand-up at that bar. It was probably 15 comedians who were all like, will this guy shut up so I can get on stage? And then we're like waiting to tell their jokes. And so nobody was laughing.
They're not in a laughing mood.
Because not only was I not telling funny jokes, but they weren't, receptive to somebody else telling. So then I got off stage and I was like, all right, I'm done. Like like you say you do every time, but I was actually
done. So I'm going to go back a little step because I came across a video of I think the last set or maybe the second last set that you did, and I had never seen it before. I don't know if I heard it, but I don't remember ever seeing it.
I feel like I shared it when I got home. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was really done.
And who knows what I was doing when you came home with these 2 small kids at home and pets and all that stuff. Like, it was a different time.
It was busy.
Well, it was a crazy busy time. So, but I saw the video and I was like, "What? How did we miss this? You're really, really, really funny and really comfortable on stage and just charming and all that stuff." So, I think, probably force you a little tiny bit to do the show this weekend. I believe there was some screaming on my part to convince you because I wanted a headline, and of course,
it was a nudge. It was a firm nudge.
Yeah,
it was encourage because it was like somebody believes in me.
Anyway, I knew you could do it.
So then we did the show this weekend, and you headlined and I hosted, and we curated our list of comedians,
and everybody got paid.
And everybody we
wasn't a ton. They're not going to go buy a car with what they made, but
yeah, I mean it wasn't like people had to pay $20, $25, $30 to get in, like when we went and saw Tom Green a couple months ago. But it was like $5, which is reasonable.
It was $50 a ticket for Tom Green.
But I'm saying our show this weekend was reasonable. And
you said the price was very punk rock. It was $5
It was very
at the
punk
door.
rock, yeah, like a punk show, like an all ages show. And then we had enough people show up and pay $5 that we paid all the comedians. And some of them were brand new, and we're like, "Why am I getting money right now?" And it's like, "You're a professional comedian now."
That's the bar. You get paid to play.
And the bar was great. The Black Sheep and Don that runs it was super happy that we brought a bunch of people in and bought drinks and promoting the show and promoting his bar. And
I think it's going to make our stage show much better if we're both doing comedy because we're also musicians. Of course, we're Mulberry Creek in a different life, And so let's do our little plug here for merch. So you can go to Bandcamp and you can pay for, you can download our first album from Mulberry Creek. Or this episode's brought to you by my first 2 books, For the Grace of Joe, which we wrote together. And the one we really made the last one together because you designed the cover and
yes, I was
did all the
behind
editing.
The scenes on that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. And of course, those stories are mostly about both of us in a little journey. Josh mentioned the show that we were making, the 2 shows that we were making actually during the pandemic. One was called How to Fail at Accessibility, and the other was called How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. And that show never got made; it failed. So, but it is a bestseller on Amazon.
It did turn into a book, and that's been really great.
Yeah, the book's been great. It's been well received, and you can get it at Kohl's or Chapters or
here in town or indigo.ca.
Or you can go on selfpublishednl.com and you can order a copy. So that's our little plug. That's So this episode is brought to you by those products. You can support what we're doing. I'm not saying we need a new car. Or, we don't need you to send us a car. But if you want to go on, I heard about this thing called buymeacoffee.com.
Yep.
Where you can set up an account or a profile, and people, if they like your content, they like what you're doing, they want to support what you're doing, they can go on and buy you a coffee. So it's like $3 or $5 or whatever you choose, but it's like a little small,
just like a little tip jar.
Yeah. So it's not like you got to pay for the subscription or anything. It's just a little nudge if you'd like to support what we're doing. Keep it in mind. We would still make the podcast. We would keep going even if we did have a car parked outside. It would just be easier to go get groceries and stuff. How's that artist life working out for you so far?
I mean, it's great. We can come down in the basement and talk for however long and make a podcast out of it. And
I would, I'm gonna throw it out here. Like, we've been married now for almost 18 years. and there's no car. Are you mad at me? Is this the life that I was promised? I mean, come on. We have kids.
All
sort of like,
I have to offer you is me.
Oh my, there'll be no crystal. What is it? There'll be no mansions waiting on the hill with crystal chandeliers.
That's right.
Anyway,
Sorry about that.
It's fine. But you know what?
No, that's the last time we're going to sing old classic country
no,
songs
it's
on the
going to
podcast.
be there's going to be a lot of that.
Is that going to be a regular segment?
I think there should be a segment called, and now for a word from Charley.
Vickie sings Charley Pride.
Listen, there's a lot of people that love Charley Pride, and
That's
I know
true.
I know we got a handful of cousins that would tune in specifically to hear the Charley Pride song. So Robert, that's for you. So what do you think? Are we going to post this or what?
I think we are. Listen, this is embarrassing. I got everything set up for this podcast. The mics, you helped me with getting all the lights and the camera and the computers here. We got the angles and all that stuff for the camera. I didn't bring my laptop charger down here. So
the
my
laptop's about to
computer's
die.
almost dead.
That
this
works
is a
out because
good-
I'm
this is
in
a good
pajamas.
intro.
But I think this is a good way to start. And I just watched.
We weren't actually planning on starting. We just kind of started talking. And
But I did take some notes on Nate Bargatze's first podcast, and I took some notes, and he, set it up that he doesn't know what this is going to be. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know if we're going to have guests along the way.
I think we're going to be talking comedy, music, art.
I think if we adopt Nate Bargatze's approach, he said there's so much going on, and I feel exactly the same way about comedy, that the way he describes it. It's a privilege to take people away from what they're worried about for 5 minutes or however long it is. Like, I want it to be fun, and I want it to be funny, and I want it to give people a little reprieve from whatever's bothering them. Like this, I want it to be lighthearted. No platforms. I don't care how you voted. I don't care who you're slept with, or in the process of
Hope to
chasing
sleep with.
or hope to sleep with. I don't care about, like, that's not what it's about. I
We
think
just ask that all of our listeners understand that this is a flat Earth, and
there is no outer space.
there's no such thing as outer space.
I'm early on in a Nateland pod, but I highly recommend, seriously, go check out Nate Bargatze, because he sounds a lot like Josh, which I love. So sometimes now Josh sounds like him, which is also, like, I'm really a big fan of that. But he's just so funny, and it's just such innocent comedy. It's like observational, relatable, and he's just so funny, and I just love him so much, and I'm just
So
inspired.
this episode has also been brought to you by the Nateland podcast.
So this is a good time to ask you for a Vandy jacket. So there's Vanderbilt University somewhere in the U.S. I don't know, probably Tennessee or whatever.
I think it
But
must
I'd
be
really-
in Tennessee. I'm not a sports guy.
I'm a big hockey fan. Oh, and Nate Bargatze has a special coming out on TNT soon where he plays golf with
Wayne Gretzky,
Charles Barkley and Bill Murray.
Nashville, Tennessee. Vanderbilt is in Nashville, Tennessee.
So he plays with Wayne Gretzky. Seriously, for a period of time, Nate Bargatze and Wayne Gretzky were in the same place, and that just makes my heart explode. So anyway, my goal is, the first one is a vehicle. I want an SUV. I don't want a car because my kids are 5'12", 6 feet, over 6 feet.
We have outgrown a Ford Focus.
Yeah, so my son right now, when we get in the car, like, he literally sits like this, and, like, that's all he can do. And the other one is getting the same way. So we need an SUV with lots of room. And then also, my next goal after that is Zanies.
Comedy Club in Nashville, Tennessee.
Zanies in Nashville, Tennessee. That's my goal, is to get the Zanies. And I don't know if that's like I have no idea about the venue. I just know that Nate talks about it a lot, and that's where he started out doing shows and stuff. So I want to get, like, some people want to go to Caroline's, some people want to go to the Cellar, some people want to get to, Boston clubs and New York clubs. I want to get to Zanies in Tennessee for two reasons. There's a chance that Nate Bargatze will be there, and also Kim and Blaine are in Tennessee, and we've been threatening to go down there for, well, we've been together 18 years. It's been 17 years that I've been wanting to go visit Nate and Kim. So
Blaine and Kim.
and Maddie. Nate and Kim.
Nate and Blaine and Kim.
Nate and Blaine and Kim and Maddie. It's going to be great. Like, we're going to have such a good time in Nashville.
Kim is my second cousin, my mom's cousin, and Kim and Blaine have been, even though we
Amazing.
have never lived close by, we met a couple times.
Yeah.
At, like, family stuff.
Yeah.
And then
and we've kept in touch.
Always been in touch.
Through such a distance.
On
We've kept in touch,
social media,
and
yeah.
we have so much in common with them, and we keep saying, I wish you lived closer. So the plan is, first, we're going to get a car. We're going to get back on the road just to get to the grocery store. And then beyond that, we might do a little road show, and we've been talking about taking an RV out across the country, because we have we have people that we want to visit on all the corners. Like we've got people over in Seattle, and we've got people down in California, and that's on the other side. That's the west. And then on this side, we've got Maine and North Carolina. We've got people that we want to visit. And then right across, we've got people in Texas and Tennessee.
True.
And of course, we want to go to Dollywood. So we've got there's the whole loop, right? And then across Canada, we've got friends across Canada as well. People have moved away, and people that I met through hockey. Actually, we want to get out to Alberta because I've got some friends that I met through Hockey Canada many years ago.
Yep.
That, to be honest, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to Janice so much was because she was working with Wayne Gretzky.
With Wayne Gretzky.
It turned out to be a really great friendship, but it really helped that she knew Wayne Gretzky. It really, really did.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Wayne Gretzky's bringing us all together. So hopefully he'll be down at Zany's. Wayne, if you're watching, man, I've been a fan. He'll know what that means.
Wayne is in Nashville.
Wayne, he'll know what that means. Wayne, I don't even know where he lives, but that's not the point. Nate Bargatze's in Tennessee. He lives there.
When I was growing up in middle school and high school, I lived out in the country, and there was this. There was nothing out where we lived. It was like trailer parks, my high school, my middle school, and like just highways, dirt roads. It was just pastures, cow pastures. But anyway, there was this country bar just in the middle of this old country highway. There was like a gas station and Wayno's Country Bar. Wayno's, that was it. So and it was the only road out to the high school. So you passed it on the bus. You pass Wayno's, you pass the gas station, and then you're at the high school.
And it's a country bar?
And there's a country bar.
Think there's any chance Mulberry Creek could play down there?
Full-on line dancing, sawdust on the floors.
Yeah.
Wayno's.
Maybe we should play a show down there. So I'm thinking between...
I think it's one of those places where you get beer bottles thrown at you. They got chicken wire in front of the stage.
Bring it on.
I never actually went in there because I was, 17 when I moved away, but...
we have different lives. When I was 17, I knew
yeah.
all the people at the... I had a favorite bar, and they all knew me,
Mm-hmm.
so they didn't even check my ID when I was 17. So it's really funny that we've grown up so differently. Anyway, I turned out fine. You turned out pretty
Look
good.
at me, I'm kick-ass.
Didn't you tell me, isn't your middle name Nate? Or is that just in my mind?
18 years. It was a good run.
All right, I think this is a pretty good
so this
first
is
episode.
the Are You Mad at Me podcast.
This is Are You Mad at Me? And are we going to have what are we going to do?
No, is this an intro, or is this like episode 0, or is this going to be the first episode?
I think this is the first episode. I think this is exactly what
We're
I want
just
to do.
diving
Thanks for
right
setting all this
in.
up. Well, I keep telling people, we got a room full of cameras. Come over and shoot a podcast. And people are like, oh, I love that. Why don't you co-host? So I couldn't ask for a better co-host.
We'll do our own podcast.
Well, we've been meaning to. And we did have a podcast during the pandemic. So it's really funny. This just occurred to me. Light bulb. When Nate Bargatze was in his room in his house doing his podcast during the pandemic.
Too? That's
we
funny.
were doing a podcast called the Mulberry Creek Hour down in our basement doing Zoom calls.
We should probably come up with some intro and outro music.
Parallel. Yeah. He's got a logo. And of course, you're doing graphic design now, so it shouldn't be that much of a stretch for you to do a logo for us. Are we going to do T-shirts and mugs and things like that?
No, listen, people can get their own mugs. Yeah, sure, we'll do some merch.
Or we do Cricut designs and just put those up on our Etsy or Pinterest or something like that. And people
you want a mug?
Make your own mug. Make your own mug.
Make your own damn mug.
Isn't that nice, though? Isn't that a little DIY? Isn't that the ultimate? I mean, we can put up a video on how to do it.
That's true.
Are we going to do videos? Are we going to have inserted videos for this thing? Is this going to be an audio podcast or just video or what?
Listen,
what
I think we're telling stories clear enough that nobody's going to need a video. They're just going to see everything so perfectly because we're just weaving tales.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
We got a dog stretched out behind us. This is fantastic.
Sparky is our neediest
We finally
dog.
get to use these microphones that have
using
been sitting there. I think we bought this one during the pandemic.
We got this one specifically for doing a new podcast a few months ago.
We were going to do something for someone else with that microphone. And we're like, hey, why don't we just use it ourselves? And I got to say, after finding 226 episodes of...
It's good motivation.
It is, because it's like just having fun with your friends. And I really like that. And I really like bringing the comedy into it, because I think if you can give people a little... I don't know. I'll have fun. I hope you'll have fun. And I
love doing podcasts.
I love it. I love that you want to produce it, because I don't like editing and stuff like that. I like doing the thing. I like doing the comedy, and I like writing. I don't mind, I really like writing, and so I'll probably be working on another book in the next little while. So there's lots of stuff going on, but it is the life of a creative artist. There's piles and piles of money, and then there's no money. And then there's I found $20. Oh my God. So we're getting pizza tonight? It really is an up and down, and navigating that is difficult. And so I think being real about that is also that helps me along the way to know that other people have struggled and that they've had shows that bombed and they've had events that they put together that people didn't show up at. And then other times, there's land of milk and honey and things go really well and people show up and, it goes amazing. And you just ride it all out and then you go to the next idea. And so right now we're without a vehicle, but we're getting lots of steps in.
And this is the next idea. Yes, my phone is very upset with me because of all the steps I'm getting lately. It's like, who is this and why do you have Josh's phone? Who are you?
I did get some really nice sneakers for my birthday this year that I was hoping to
break in.
Get lots of steps in.
Oh, you manifested the car being broken down with your new sneakers.
I will say that there's a few things that I don't have to go to now.
Yeah, that's true. We do have an out for everything.
Yeah. It really is nicer because I felt like I was starting to feel like remember during the pandemic when there was nothing going on and I never felt like I was missing anything? That's back like 100 times worse than it was before because now there's events going on and it's like, oh, I'm missing this and I'm missing that. And I want to be at things, but I'm kind of antisocial. Not antisocial, just introverted. And like I'm comfortable.
It's nice to be able to say no when you don't want to go to something.
Well, and that's, that sounds really mean. But like I'm really comfortable in my pajamas right now in the basement. I'd rather reach people. I'd rather broadcast this way than to be out in a bar right now, especially because it's raining. It's not good for...
I feel like it's been raining for a year.
It's been a day. It's been a really... the weather's been fantastic. It's actually just been a rainy day today. So... and the dogs don't even want to go outside, so we're just letting them pee on the floor.
Yeah, just go. Just don't even... Maybe you're in the way.
Hey, Mabes.
You're bothering everybody.
Maybe, I think, is letting us know that this is the end of the episode.
This is the end of the episode. Maybe
so this is maybe on a potato.
And, if you're listening to this audio only, go watch the video because we got very cute dogs that are climbing all over me right now. Okay.
I'm covered in fur, which is another thing. I don't have to defuzz to go anywhere. I'm not covered.
True.
I don't have to worry about having fur all over me here because everybody else does too. But this is nice. I like this.
So this is the Are You Mad at Me podcast, episode 1.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Where are we going to put this?
Do
we need to say subscribe or follow or any of that stuff?
Just Google it. You'll find it. I'm definitely going to go on Spotify. We're not Apple people, so I don't know if it's going to end up on Apple Podcasts unless we...
We like apples. We just don't have
apples.
any Apple devices, so we don't really have to... That's not really a going concern in our lives, but we'll put it wherever it needs to be, and I think we'll sign up for a Buy Me a Coffee. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, maybe
because that's a slow trickle of money that, if you like what we're doing, I like what we're doing, I'll send you a coffee, and you send me a coffee, and then energy is being exchanged, right? Because that's all money is. But if you got a car laying around... I don't know. If you get an extra car, we'll take a car.
Roll it over to us.
We'll promote whatever you're doing. I mean, unless you're real bad, we'll promote what you're doing. Sure.
I feel like there's Metro bus. Like, what do they do with their old buses? Maybe we could get one of those. Drive a bus around, pick up all the kids' friends. All right, that's the end of the episode.
I think that's a great idea. Let's get a bus.
That's a good place to stop.
Or an old U-Haul or something like that, or whatever. But yeah, let's. We're working on a vehicle and we're working on this podcast, and hope this was fun.
Yeah,
I had fun.
Oh, look, the laptop battery's hanging in there, but it's almost done. So, thanks for tuning in, and we'll get another one of these out in the next amount of time.
So let's put some links in the description. So links to the Bandcamp and links to the books, and then we'll go from there because we've got lots of ideas and stuff, and it's nice to get it done. It's nice to get the first one check mark. I didn't even put on pants.
Sorry about that.
I am wearing some pants.
We just started recording.
Just not going out in public pants.
Yes, you are wearing pants.
I am wearing pants.
All right. Thanks,
folks.
folks.
That kind of show.
We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Josh, for being here. I'm Vickie Morgan.
I'm Josh Morgan.
See you later.
See ya.